Okay, welcome back to the Sonic Unleashed playthrough. And
Dear God, enthusiasm.
we had to switch to nighttime in order to talk to Professor Pickle last part, so obviously that means something is going to happen with the Werehog since they wanted to shoehorn us into being a Werehog. Well, it's time to play the longest Werehog level in the game.
Even Eggman Land?
Even
That
Empire
doesn't count,
City?
actually.
Empire City kind of went over half an hour for me.
You know what? I actually enjoy playing as the Werehog in a certain few instances during this game where the level length is actually not that obnoxious. And those two instances are, not counting town missions because those are bite-sized Werehog missions, those two instances are Dragon Road Night, because that's actually a really short Werehog level compared to all the others, Dragon Road Night, and Eggman Land. Because the Werehog sections in that are actually pretty short.
Yeah, they're micro levels.
Yeah, they're basically micro levels.
Oh, I had a question because it's been a while since I've played this. This game has pretty linear level progression, right? You can't do things out of order, even though you can go wherever you want on the map.
No, you can't. And you know what? That's kind of a weird design decision because they have this medal system, right? And they obviously want you to unlock a certain number of the stages by getting the medals, and they have medal requirements for the plot stages, but you still have to do the plot stages in the exact order they want you to. What's the point of having these medal requirements? All it does is stop you from going forward.
Well, you see, that Super Mario Galaxy was really popular, and you needed stars in order to unlock new levels in that game, so...
This came out too soon after that for Galaxy to be the one they were ripping off.
I was more just joking.
Yeah,
this level progression has been around since Super Mario fucking 64.
Yeah, I know. It's just like it's such a basic fucking idea of what collectathon progression works like. This guy is still not dead.
And the difference is that when you beat your reward for beating a stage, unless you're playing Unleashed, is not medals. It's just you beat the stage.
Yeah, you have to find the medals along the way.
Holy crap,
Yeah.
we were going straight up RPG, breaking into someone's house and taking their VHS.
Yeah, that's where like all the secrets in this level are. You bust down doors and you run around inside places. You wreck the furniture for points, and you steal an item if there happens to be one. Not all the houses in here have anything of actual importance.
Good job, Sonic! You saved the city!
Sonic is kind of a not a very good moniker. The VHS Bandit.
The VHS Bandit.
Oh,
I
after your
smell
Bandit
the
tapes.
Home Alone sequels. But yeah, you want to bust down the doors because there's medals inside. And it's the night stages that have the most day stage medals, ironically.
It's vice versa too, because there's like 3 day stages in.
Yeah, but it's not as glaring on the daytime side because the levels are shorter, therefore they have less medals in them overall. So you're still going to get like 6 night medals per night stage, whereas like day stages you've got like 7 night medals, I think. So it's not that big a difference there. But it's also, exploration is just more natural as part of the Werehog's gameplay. I'm not saying that the hiding places are necessarily good, but it just the way you're playing, you're going to pick up, as a natural course of going through the level, a lot more medals in the Werehog's gameplay. Now, what about killing Dark Gaia monsters caused this mechanism attached mechanically to a building, presumably constructed long before Dark Gaia was released and started spawning monsters everywhere? What about that caused that to activate?
Dark Gaia. The presence of Dark Gaia creatures was suppressing the electrical mechanisms.
No, Johnny, I know why. Lewis, fuck you. That's why.
If we're talking about music again here, Spagonia Night is one of my favorite Werehog level themes.
It's funky as shit.
Yeah. I think my favorite Werehog night theme might be Shamar, but
I forget. Mine's the one that just starts with the funkiest shit saxophone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Shamar.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily find Spagonia Night to be a bad level. It's just a really long one. Like, by the time I get to the end of this level, I'm always tired of the Werehog.
You would take a nap.
And I think there's actually another Werehog level right after this, which makes it even worse. But what takes the
Remix!
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that would be like a Jeff Goldblum rap song right there. And that's chaos theory. But yeah, what takes the cake is Shamar. And I don't think I actually do the part that gets me, but there's an optional section off to the side of Shamar Night where you can fight a bunch of monsters, waves and waves of monsters. You get trapped there, and what you want to go up there for is actually a, I think it's a sun medal? One solitary sun medal. And if you go up there, you fight these monsters for like 5-6 straight minutes. They keep coming, and you have to beat them all to get out. Or you can die. That's an option.
Whatever comes first.
Gameplay.
Well, it's quicker to just suicide and go back to the fucking checkpoint.
Just kill yourself, Sonic. Just die.
I was like, it goes on forever, though. Like, it's a fucking survival mode.
Oh, so it's like, what's it called in Sonic Battle, where you just do nothing but fight the gray Gamma bots for a good half hour.
I guess. It's just that point was the only time in this game outside of Eggman Land where I honestly felt like I wanted to rage quit.
Was the person that did Unleash the soundtrack, did he come back for Colors, or was that someone else?
So this was the sound director for this game was Tomio Otani. He'd been with the franchise since SA2, and he sound directed 06, Lost World. I hear conflicting reports about Colors. Some people say he was the director, but I believe it may have been Kenichi Toko was the sound director for Colors. Either way, Tomio Otani, and his most recent work was on Sonic
I have
Colors.
a question. How can there be conflicting reports about who the director of a thing was? Aren't there credits at the end of the game?
Yeah, but sometimes people work on things and they're not credited, or they go under a different name, or you know, all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, I know Dante's voice actor in the anime went under the name Justin Cause because he was working with Just Cause at the time. You get it?
Well, you say that like Jason Griffith, I believe, is in Secret Rings. He's credited as Adam Carroll's son.
Wait.
Huh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there are some actors. Steve Bloom, actually, in Brave Fence and Musashi, went under David Lucas. I think it has something to do with like the Screen Actors Guild or the union, whatever they're employed under.
No, most anime do their non-union work, and so it happened like in the original dub of Akira, Cam Clark, who most people might know as the original Leonardo, voiced Kaneda, but he went under an assumed name so he could do non-union work.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff
I don't get the correlation. I don't.
Unions are silly in some instances.
Unions are necessary, but their rules can be.
Yeah, exactly.
Or sometimes it's just embarrassment. Like I forget the name he went under, but in the Street Fighter 2 anime, Bryan Cranston voices Fei Long, but he goes under an assumed name because at the time he just needed the money, and like he didn't want his name attached to like some in his like back then it was like some city cartoon.
Wait,
So,
Bryan Cranston was Fei Long?
yes, Walter White plays Fei Long.
Who in their right mind would be embarrassed to voice Bruce Lee?
It's a you know, voice acting is still not very prestigious acting work for a lot of people.
Well, I know I'd say nowadays, but back this was like the early-ish 90s, and it was a straight-to-video like Japanese anime, you know, like
Yeah, because I know Bryan Cranston was also some of the monsters on Power Rangers.
Yeah, I think but like nowadays he's been in he was in Madagascar 3. I think he's going to be in Kung Fu Panda 2. He was Commissioner Gordon in Batman Year One of his best roles. But I think back then he was just like. Like I don't want people to know this is me type of thing.
Holy shit! I'm looking it up. Yeah, Walter White.
Was
Heisenberg was Fei Long.
If they go under a false name, how do people figure this stuff out?
Because the voice, if you listen to it, like you can tell it's him. Like, I mean, there are
Yeah.
points where he does do like, there are points where in that movie Fei Long does go like, "Hota!"
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's him, but like the speaking voice, it is.
But Dan
clearly-
isn't hilarious if you think it is.
I know. I wish. I hope
just,
it is.
Can I just tangent back into the gameplay and say I really
No,
love
we're
the
talking
finishing
about
animation.
we're
for
talking
this.
about Heisenberg. Damn it!
The finishing animation for that monster though, it's glorious. You just jump inside and rip it up from the inside out,
Ooh.
and then you jump out of its mouth and it dies.
I am the one who knocks. Water!
You know, for kids.
It's okay, because they're monsters.
He's right.
Man. Well, technically, they're all made of black smoke, so it's not like there's
Monsters.
blood and guts in there.
Are we getting lost in this son of a bitch?
Oh man. You know what? I take it back. This level is terrible. It's nothing but battle arena after battle arena after battle arena.
Oh,
The only
fuck,
good-
monsters better go break into a place.
The
You're not
only-
safe here.
The only good part of this level is at the end, where you have to do actual platforming.
What is this
No,
spinny-
no, I think you mean at the end where the level ends.
No, this
Lewis,
spinny move you're doing, it reminds me of something, but I can't remember what it is. Like,
It's a drill claw.
Drill.
no, but I remember playing a game exactly like this. Well, not like where there was a move where you did something similar, and that's all I did, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, and it's bothering me.
You'll remember after the part's over.
Probably.
Well, once you unlock that drill move, it's one of the moves you'll spam like all throughout the game. It's ridiculously good for taking out large enemies.
It's no
But
Shuri
mostly
Hulk
because
game.
it does a lot of damage, but it also most often moves you past the enemy and out of their attack range behind them. Which means you can turn around and do the drill thing again, and they'll lumber around to turn and face you, and then after you do the attack a second time, you're behind them again, and out of their attack range. So you can keep doing that, and they'll never be able to fucking touch you, until they do a shockwave move or something.
What a great camera view, Silent Team.
That was a
make
really
me
great
laugh.
wall. Oh god, I'm gonna kill whoever installed those fences in this fucking town.
That's the worst part, because it prevents you from backtracking and to collect things, and there's no warning as to when they'll pop up.
I want to go back to a comment Lewis made a few minutes ago where he said this level it's annoying because it's just wall after wall of enemy waves. And I'm like, Lewis, that's every Werehog level in this game.
Well,
you have to narrow it down a bit
a
more.
lot of the other Werehog levels mix things up with some mild platforming between fighting sequences, right? Dragon Road is one of my favorite examples. But this only has platforming at the very end.
I will say, I mean, it's again, as we said in previous parts, like the Wii version, it's a lot of shorter levels. I would say from both versions, my two favorite Werehog levels come from the Wii version. There's one in, I believe, Chunnan, where the Werehog has to he has to like climb up a waterfall,
Ah, yeah, I remember
which has
that
some
one. That
really
was
nice.
awesome.
And also there's one of because Eggman Land has 5 Werehog levels, and I would say Eggman Land is where the Werehog, the ratio gets really obnoxious in the Wii version. But there's, I think, the second to last Werehog level, it's on an entirely 2D plane, and it's really, I think, it's one of the more interesting Werehog things, because like it's because we never have unless we should mention was the first game to kind of have it's 3D, but at sections it goes to 2D, because that's what people love Sonic for.
Yes.
And so since then it's been a staple. But on the Wii version was the only version where they apply that also to the Werehog, which I thought was kind of a nice idea.
To be honest, the whole 2D and 3D thing is something that's been bothering me in a lot of games recently, because a lot of games do it. Like, it happens in the Mario Galaxy games, it happens here, it happens in a lot of other games, and part of me just wants, if you're gonna make a 2D game, make a 2D game, and if you're gonna make a 3D game, make a 3D game. It just...
But I will counter that I think there's room for hybrids.
Why not
I don't
both?
mind for hybrids. Yeah, why not both?
I think it's kind of like how it's kind of awkward in Generations when the whole point of classic is 2D, and so when you get to modern and there's large chunks of his level in 2D.
Yes.
It's the same problem that Generations 3DS has. So basically modern is just classic with a boost and home attack, even though
Yeah, in that case
classic
that's
gets the home-
redundant.
Yeah, even though classic gets the home attack.
Yeah,
after
but you know
triple
something?
zone.
At the same time, I'm glad they did that in Generations, if only so that I finally have a game I can point to and say, okay, play this, and then tell me that Sonic Unleashed 2D sections are the same as classic Sonic. I fucking dare you. Because they're not. They're really, really not.
Who says that?
A lot of... Okay, you get a lot of obnoxious people mostly on the internet, but I've also met one or two in real life who have no idea what fucking Sonic gameplay is supposed to fucking play like, and really just want to badmouth the fans because they get a kick out of
Okay, let's
Lewis, I told you that in confidence at MomoCon. I can't believe you betrayed
Okay,
that.
let's be real for a moment though. Sometimes the fan base does deserve it though.
Yeah, but the fan base deserves it, sure. But those people then turn around and take their frustrations out on the gameplay by trying to say Sonic fans are idiots for not liking, say, Sonic Rush, because apparently Sonic Rush or Sonic Unleashed 2D sections or whatever are the same thing as classic Sonic gameplay, and we're all just complainers. No.
I don't like to generalize it as fan base, because most of the time, when people are shit-mouthing Sonic, any fan base for that matter, they're, for the most part, talking about the vocal minority. Minority being the key word there. And the one thing I will agree is that the vocal minority of Sonic is the fucking loudest.
Yeah.
Because...
Lewis, I would say people making those comments, I would... probably on that big Sonic fans, because I can't imagine unless they're kids.
No, they're not Sonic fans at all. They haven't played the games. They just want to call the Sonic fan base idiots by saying they don't know what they're talking about. So they'll look at like 2 seconds of Chemical Plant Zone and think, okay, Sonic 2 is the same thing as Sonic Rush. You're just running forward to win. And no, you got no idea what you were talking about. Go actually play the games. Seriously.
Honestly, my biggest thing with Sonic fans is that you can't say anything because everybody thinks something different. It's not like they're like, you can't even say like, oh, like, because everybody has a different opinion on what's a good Sonic game and what's not. So like I could say I love Adventure 2 and half of the people would agree with me.
Dumbass!
Yeah, exactly.
Idiot!
Exactly.
What are you, stupid?
Well,
yeah, but I think every fan base has that.
Yeah,
it's whether or not, again, it's how loud they are. Because you say Sonic, I say Kingdom Hearts. You know, Kingdom Hearts. I love that game for the gameplay. But Jesus Christ, you are not allowed to dislike anything in that game, because you will get hordes of 50 or 100 12-year-olds who say, "Ah, you're absolutely wrong." And I was like, "Yeah, okay. How much do you like it in the ass by missing Nomura? Shut up." Like, I'm trying to enjoy the game here.
Okay, this somehow segued into talk about the fan bases being obnoxious, but what I find more obnoxious, this is what I was originally trying to talk about, what I find more obnoxious than an obnoxious fan base are people being obnoxious about obnoxious fan bases. Like, seriously, stop it. At that point, why are you complaining? You obviously like hating them.
You know what I find obnoxious? People being obnoxious about people being obnoxious about fans being obnoxious.
Yeah, I do think... The fan bases can get really fucking obnoxious and annoying though, because every time a Sonic announcement happens
they
on
can.
Twitter, that's all I
see
for a good 3 days.
But
no offense, but how is it any different when like a new Ace Attorney's announced? That's what you talk about.
What I want to know is why.
Okay, we really can't be interrupting each other when we're talking about this. So let's finish a sentence.
Well, most of the time when a new Ace Attorney's announced, I'm just whining for months that it's not going to get localized over here. So, you know.
Good.
You at least hate your fucking games, Gareth. So yeah.
You know why? Because I'm a fan of a good franchise. You're not. Suck it, scrub.
It's just, I understand. Believe me, I understand that the principle of fan bases and vocal minorities, but there's a contingent of people on the internet who have nothing better to do than complain about other people on the internet, and
yeah, they're 5-year-olds
or do LPs.
No, actually, they're not 5-year-olds. They're 20, 30 somethings. They're 20, 30 somethings who wish to reaffirm their own 30 something status by claiming everyone else is 5 years old. And yeah,
so they're like that one character from Super Paper Mario.
Oh, the Francis. I fucking love Francis.
Yeah, Francis.
Maybe I would just say in terms of like complaining about game, maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but I just don't care anymore about getting angry at games. I just don't have it in me to be like, ah.
I've kind of gotten over it too. Like I can't.
Not really, Ted. Let's not lie. Not really, Ted.
Okay, there are exceptions, but for the
There-
most
there-
part, I'd rather just stop playing a bad game than continue to play it just so that I can bitch about it.
It takes a really fucking lot for me to get angry at a video game these days.
That's the thing. I mean, I think that there's a difference between being frustrated at a poorly made game. I mean, I completely get it when you're playing a game and it's it's glitchy or buggy and like you end up getting killed for no reason. I get being frustrated with the game, but I don't get some people who just just go online to vent. I mean, I know it's hypocritical because when we do these OPs, we do just a lot of time just complain and make fun of him. But like, I don't ever get legitimately angry.
Yeah.
About a video game or a movie. Or I just don't care enough. At this point, I'm near the grave at this point. All right, I don't give a fuck anymore. All right.
I used to, when I first started my channel, I used to have these video segments called a rant and good time where I just bitch about something, and then after the second video, I was like, I really have nothing to be angry about.
Right.
It just.
You know what? It's kind of the whole being angry at stuff thing was started by the whole AVGN. But part of the thing about the AVGN is that James Rolfe doesn't really give a shit. He's just doing it for a laugh.
AVGN is a character.
And then you get a whole bunch of people who are like just sincerely pissed off about people, and they're like, "I'm gonna make a review show where I do nothing but rant," and you can tell that it's not a joke to them. Like
exactly. Yeah, that's why I like characters like him or Mr. Plinkett. Well, like you can tell, they're just a lot of times they're exaggerating things for comedic purposes. The YouTubers are just like, "Fuck this game!"
Oh man, yeah, it's like James Rolfe, even Doug Walker, very chill when they're not in character. Even when they're talking about the same things they were talking about when they were in character.
Lewis, you missed a moon medal.
I missed a moon medal, yeah, but I don't care because you don't need all the moon medals. In fact,
I
you need
care.
about,
Damn it, go back.
You need about half as many moon medals to complete the game as you need sun medals. And it's fucking weird because okay, you need 120 sun medals to get into the final plot stage, Atabat Day. You need 70 sun medals to get into the first optional Atabat level, which you can't even unlock until you've beaten the main day stage. Why is that medal requirement even there?
I don't know.
You already have twice that many sun medals if you can even see the medal requirement. Ugh. I think it's like someone just really switched them around by accident.
Here's the cutscene.
Look at Dr. Pickle's aide doing the disco dance.
Amy's literally just twirling for no good
Yeah,
reason.
why is she twirling like that?
Twirling,
It's not
twirling.
Dr. Pickle's aide that's twirling her like that. His arm is literally doing nothing to her. It's like
Lewis.
she's spinning like
She
a
looks
top.
drunk, actually.
Professor Pickle, he has no MD, alright? Eggman worked for his doctorate, damn it. Professor Pickle did nothing.
Anyway, this is where the HD version introduces a kind of silly fucking mechanic. But it takes so little time to actually do this that it really doesn't matter, and it's really just an excuse to make a few more extra experience points for the Werehog.
It also adds something nice to the credits. I think,
The snapshots. Okay.
Yeah, the snapshots.
Yeah, but I think
nice.
you get those whether you take the pictures
Well,
or
yeah,
not.
you do, but it kind of they kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, like Chip's camera kind of comes out of nowhere in the Wii version, but I kind of like the fact that it's. One thing I say about Unleashed is that they give you there's lots of kind of extra missions to do. Like if you want to, and that's completely up to you. But they clearly put thought into how can we pad out this game without just Werehog padding, as it were. Like what optional shit might people actually like to do?
So instead, we take pictures of Spider-Man, brah.
Exactly.
Yeah, what actually happens with this particular mechanic is you take pictures of people who are possessed by Dark Gaia monsters, and that expels the Dark Gaia monsters out long enough for you to beat the crap out of them. And then those people, in turn, often give you other side missions after you've saved them, which may or may not be day stage or night stage missions. Oh, by the way, Spider-Man exit. Why can't I do that in-game?
I know, right? What the hell? Spider hug.
To be fair, this isn't the first game to do that.
Yeah, but what's the thing? The camera itself is one of a few nice little touches to this game that are intended to make you feel more like a genuine tourist, alongside, being able to buy all these different kinds of foods, or, what other kind of stuff, like the different kind of people you meet. Just going around the different towns, obviously if you're a tourist, you're going to have a camera, right? Hence the snapshots at the end of the game. It's just that the camera itself is not used for that, functionally. It's like the whole taking pictures of Gaia-possessed people is there because they wanted to have a camera in the game because tourism, but they didn't know how to factor the tourism element into gameplay, so they were like, okay, forget that, but let's do something gameplay-wise with the camera so that people know it's there.
So say cheese.
It works. It works.
It does call back to early beliefs about the camera that like it would steal your soul or something like that, which is why that's why vampires can't take photographs.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, that kind of stuff was more prevalent in Japan than it was over here.
I forget. I took a class on photography too. I should know
In Rurouni Kenshin, they talk about the camera. I think at one point, and I think it's during the same filler episode with the steam engine train. And
No, I think it was the movie actually.
I think Samanosuke has this freak out moment where he's afraid the camera's gonna steal his soul. I think it was Samanosuke.
Yeah,
not
it was.
Sanosuke. I always get those names mixed up. Samanosuke is Onimusha.
I just think about the episode of The Simpsons where they're like Springfield's listed last in science, and it cuts the Skinner like tied to like a stake. Like, I'm telling you, people, the Earth revolves around the sun. Like, someone comes up and like takes a picture of Grandpa, and he takes it. You've stolen my soul.
Just funny, to go back to what happened a few minutes ago, where Sonic pulled a Spider-Man by escaping Amy's sight before she recovered fully. I never took that as an homage to Sonic CD. If that's what Ryan was talking about when it wasn't the first time that's happened.
No, I was saying this isn't the first time that's happened where the cutscene lets you do stuff that you wish you could do in game.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just talking about when Sonic just ditches Amy after picking her up.
I must have missed that part in Sonic CD where Sonic's arms go really long and he flies around like
it's weird because at the end of Sonic CD, Sonic carries Amy from the destruction and the wreckage, and then just drops her off like maybe a few feet away from it, and then just ditches her.
Fuck this.
It's like, yes, I'm tired. I'm going home.
Well, she's a gross girl who has cooties, John. I mean, ew.
You deserve to die.
Anyway, got a moon medal from Professor Pickle, and that's the end of the part. Even Professor Pickle is happy this is over.
Kill me.